So, choosing the right tarantula video. I posted a video back in late February, March. I don't remember exactly which day I posted. So I figured I'd just recapitulate or re-update the video. So this is aimed for new beginner TV owners that are just going into the hobby, so I want to congratulate you guys. So, let's see what I'm going to talk about first. Yeah, choosing your tarantula, or a tarantula for that matter. You always do some research before you buy a tarantula. Do not buy on impulse. Impulse mean, okay, I'll buy something because it looks really cool. Don't do that, because for one example, you can have one that can really turn nasty and you're figuring what's wrong with it. So you always research before you buy one. You can either speak with me, Rob C, or any other people. Don't listen to what pet store people tell you, because they want to make money for themselves. They'll say, oh, okay, here's your age limit them, keep it in hairline substrate. That's all you need. Hair if you want. I'll buy some heat light sources. That's it. Don't listen to them, because you're going to be paying useless money for nothing. That's what this video is about. So now we're going to choose your right tarantula for you, and hopefully you can learn from this. Ooh, so look what I have here. A concept map. This will hopefully narrow down your choices. So let's describe it. Okay, so choosing tarantulas. Okay, so you want to ask yourself, do you want an arboreal, something that climbs in trees, or you want a terrestrial? Okay, so these are subdivided into two classes, New Worlds and Old Worlds. The New Worlds being from the Americas, which includes North America, South America, and Central America. And Old Worlds are anywhere else but the Americas, like the Asian, Australian, African, and European species. So for arboreals, you can either have, for New World arboreals, you can have either a docile species or aggressive species. The only docile I can think of is your Viculare genus, which is the pink toes. They're really handleable. There are some Viculares that are more aggressive than others, like the versicolor, but they're aimed for new beginners. Now, there are some New Worlds that are aggressive. These are aimed for intermediate to expert keepers. If you buy a new Viculare and you can handle the speed and how to keep them, then you're probably ready for the intermediates. Species include, like from the genus from Tapnicenius, Sumapose, and Iridopelma. These guys are really fast and aggressive, but they don't lack any potency of venom. So you're pretty safe. But the bites hurt like hell. And then out of the 14 years that I kept tarantulas, I never got bitten. So now the Old Worlds. Well, these are kind of the interesting spiders. These are the lightning fast species, highly defensive and very potent in venom. So these are all only aggressive. There's no docile Old World arboreal. But there can be some specimens, but that's just personality issues. So you have species like your Heteroschondra maculata, Togosarvis baboon, Lampropelma violaciope, which is the Singapore blue or violet, Stromatopelma calceatum, the feather-leg baboon, or the pokies. As I said before, these are really highly defensive tarantulas with really bad venom. So these are aimed for the experienced only. So what I would start, if you want to start your arboreal collection, start with the Avix, see how you do with them. If you feel comfortable, then you start with one of these three. Some poses are great because they act like pokies, but they don't have the bad venom. And then once you're ready for some Apoas, and these three, then you're ready for these. These are lightning fast, so just really watch out for them. That's for the arboreals. So as I said before, keep them in taller enclosures, such as this one, which houses my Viculare versicolor, the Antilles pinktoe. 5-gallon tank flipped on its side. Some vermiculite, straight vermiculite works. Water dish, and some climbing spaces. And you can keep them like this. It's my Tapnicenius gigas, orange tree spider. and my Salmopoeis pulcher. Even go out overboard and get a 10-gallon tank flipped on its side, which houses my Pocotheria regalis union ornamental. But for the conventional, you just keep it like this. Some bark for it to climb on, which houses my beautiful 4-inch Pocotheria formosa, the Salem ornamental. How about terrestrials? Same thing. You want to go for New World or Old World? So let's start with the Old World first. Well, they're aimed for experts only. You really got to own some tarantulas before you start dealing with them. So the species include, the OBT, really highly fast and aggressive species, Haplopelma lividum, cobalt blue, Chilobrachys fimbriatus, the violet, etc. So these are the phosphoryl species, so you want to give them really high substrate so that they can burrow. So these are known as pet holes. So if you like to have visible tarantulas such as myself, these guys are probably not right for you. For the New Worlds, these are subdivided into 3 classes. There are docile, slightly aggressive, and plain evil. So the dociles are aimed for beginners. So examples are Brachypelma, Grammostola, Phonopelma, and Eupalestris. So for practical examples, Brachypelma smithii, Mexican redknee, great beginner tarantula to get, although they can be quite expensive. And you have the elusive Eupalestris camstratus, the pink zebra beauty. Where is she? She's right there. Highly docile species, very great for beginners. You have your Locola Phonopelma species, like this Chalcodes. Reasonably well for a beginner. And you can even buy this guy, the Grammostola rosea. But in my opinion, it's not a real great beginner tarantula. Because they're readily available and low cost in pet stores, the really only thing that I dislike about G. roseas is that because they grow on prolonged feeding fasts where they can not eat for several months to weeks, so this could be alarming for the new VT owner. And of course their temperament, they're very moody, Grammostola, so they can either be docile 1 minute and then turn evil the next. So for this reason, don't really recommend G. roseas as great beginners. I would recommend either the Eupalestris camstratus, the Brachypelmas. This is one of my favorite ones that are nice and handleable. The curly hair Brachypelma abopulosum. That covers the brief overview of the beginners. Now for the slightly aggressive species, which are aimed for the intermediates, so this includes the Chromatopelma genus, the Cyclosternum, and the Lasiodora. This is just a name to a few of them. So these guys are particularly very skittish and slightly aggressive too. So for example, I'll give you some. Here's my green bottle blue, adult female, Chromatopelma sanopubescens, substrate, water dish, and a cave. Pretty much the norm. And I'll give you this guy also, really hungry eater, is my Acanthoscuria brocklehursti, which is the giant white-banded. This girl's about 3.5 inches right now. She'll be in my next feeding video, which will probably be aired maybe tonight or tomorrow. Awesome. Now for the New Worlds, there are just downright evil specimens, such as the Ephobopus species and the Theraphosa species. Well, these are classified as experts. Why do I say Ephobopus are really evil? Because these are the type of specimens that all actually throw threat displays with their fangs bared and venom dripping from their fangs. Scary. And Theraphosa is actually probably one of the slightly difficult species to care for. Here's an example of Theraphosa blondie, Goliath bird eater. This is my 10-inch female. So, as I mentioned before, to get great humidity for species like this, they thrive on high temperature, high humidity. So pour warm water or near hot water over the substrate. Have a water dish and block off the ventilation. And the substrate was watered 2 days ago, so you can see it's preserving quite nicely, and it's pretty humid in there. Oh, I forgot to mention their growth rates too, choosing the tarantulas. So if you want to go for Arboreal, New World, Docile, Vicularia, these are kind of medium fast growers. They take about maybe 3 years to mature. That's one of them. For the New World aggressive species, like these guys here, relatively fast growing. I had my Tapicinius become a mature male in about 2 short years. Someone posed the same thing. Iridopelma, I don't have any experience on them, but from what I heard from sources, that these guys are pretty nasty. And aggressive Old Worlds, Boreals, fast growing, especially pokies. Now about the Terrestrials, if you want to go for New World docile ones, these guys are quite slow growers, as I mentioned in my sling care video. So they take about 6 years to mature. Especially these ones take a little bit longer. They take about 8 to 9 years. That's why you haven't seen my Chalcodes molt in about 10 years. But she molted early this year, which is awesome. Then your slightly aggressive species, Cornell Chromatopelma, Cyclosternum, Lacidora, and Theraphosa and Eupopus are pretty much fast-growing species. Yeah. Oh, and these guys, very fast-growing, and very hardy too. So hopefully I narrowed down your choices, and you're one step closer away from choosing the beginners.